Okay, good. Now it's working. A lot's been going on. I've been seeing online. I woke up this morning and I don't know the person personally. I have seen some of his videos. I've seen memes. I even did an edit video for a friend, just like a funny video where he's reacting to Luigi's Mansion. And I remember him most because mainly he will always talk about Goku for Smash. And what else? The last video I saw him, I think it was him doing, was him reacting to Breath of the Wild 2. And then he went missing. And they just recently, I woke up this morning to the unfortunately found him dead in a river in New York City, if I'm right. I don't know if it's exactly New York City. I know it's in New York. I didn't read it that it was a suicide, but a lot of people, I guess, it looks most likely to be a suicide. That he had been suicidal before, or had some type of thoughts, I should say. I don't know the whole story behind it. But one of the reasons I'm making this video, and it's about Etika, is because I saw someone post "he's a coward" on YouTube with a video and saying that, oh, I'm speaking the truth now. No. That is not true. Being a coward is far from it. Being a coward is far from it. And it shows how ignorant that person is. It shows very ignorant how that person is, and how heartless that person is to call him a coward. And he said that his fans are stupid, and so I'm all like, excuse me? So I'm making this video because what Etika did was not a act of cowardness. It was far from cowardness. And how I know that for myself is because, how I know that is because I've been there. I've unfortunately been there. And growing up, before it happened, I thought, hey, I would never fall that far. I would never do that. It would never happen. Well, once you fall into the abyss, it's possible. And I like to use two things to describe what it's like. I use Aqua from Kingdom Hearts and Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi. With Aqua, it's like Aqua was this hopeful person, which if you play BBS, she was hopeful, she was cheery, she was happy. But once you got to play a story towards when she went to the realm of darkness, the further she went into the abyss, as in the realm of darkness, the further she lost herself. The further she changed. The further she started having ideas or whatever that you would think, and she might think that she would never ever get down to it. Never. She started becoming sad, hopeless, and thought maybe I should just fall in the darkness. And that's the same way how it feels when you're in that state. You feel like maybe I should just off myself, and that if I do that, all the pain will go away. It has nothing to do with cowardness. It has to do with the pain, wanting the pain, the absolute pain. It's a pain that you will never forget. It's a pain that you've never felt before. It's so overwhelming, especially, and it's made, for me, it was in my brain. I know it's very hard to describe. It was in my brain. You feel it in your brain. It's a physical, it's a pain. It's an actual pain. And it's so overwhelming and unbearing. And then you're having these thoughts of so much negative stuff and what people say. And it's not that I shouldn't think about it. It's not that you want to think about it. It's literally like you can't turn it off. It's literally, it just keeps going. You can't turn it off until it's over. Until it's taken enough chunk out of you. But it's in here. The pain is in here. And it's very overwhelming. You feel hopeless. You feel like you're just worthless, like you were a mistake, that why am I here? No one seems to like me. People hate me. Just a bunch of negative things. And you just feel so hopeless. and you feel no one likes you. And I know it's different upon different people, but for me personally, no one. The difference for me is this: no one was there for me. I'm not even joking. No one was there for me. They may come and say, "Oh, I was." No, bullshit. No one was there for me. No one was there for me. No one talked to me, and when I did try to talk to people about it, they either laughed, ignored, or pushed me away. And on the top of that, made rumors because of it. Rumors that ruined my reputation around the community I was in. It seemed like no one, absolutely no one, that they were all the same, that no one cared. There was no remorse, empathy, caring, compassion, anything, no comfort. I didn't get any help when I did try to look for it. No one was there. And it's one of the things that makes it very hard when it comes to suicide. And when I see so many people, when something like this happens and everyone just talks about, you need to talk to someone, call this number, and this makes me realize, there are people out there in the world that care about other people, but after my own experience, I felt like I'll never have that, no matter what. Even as I am better, because I've gone through self-therapy. I am the best I've ever been in a very long time. I no longer have depression. I may have some depression, like spots, like for a couple days, like once every blue moon. But otherwise, I no longer have depression. I'm no longer suicidal. I'm the best I've ever been. I no longer have the pain, no negative. I have none of that. Like I used to be, none of that. And I'm happy that there are people out there that do act human and actually care, because the people who I felt acted towards me acted inhuman, and a lot of them pushed me away, and I just felt like they really treated me like, oh, you're a person with feelings, you care, you need to be squashed like a bug, you need to go away, swept under the rug. That's how I literally felt, and that's how I felt I was treated, and that's how I felt like I was really treated. But cowardliness, it's far from it. It's very far from it. And then again, like with the Aqua thing, she kept going deeper, and the deeper you get, the worse it gets. Until you get to the very bottom, like Aqua, and Aqua, like yourself, you become a totally different person that you don't even recognize, which would be, in this case, in the symbolization of this, would be anti-Aqua. Aqua couldn't get out of the realm of darkness or the abyss by herself. She needed friends. And once her friends came and rescued her and took her back to the realm of light, or the surface, she was back to herself. She was better. No longer the abyss, depression, any of that. She was like herself again. For me, I didn't have that. And on July 4th, 2016, I attempted to jump out of a moving car 3 times. I would have either stabbed myself in the gut later that day or jumped off a bridge, because I had full intentions of ending it that day. But because of certain events that did happen, that didn't happen. And then from there on, things started to get better for me, but I had to do it myself. So unlike Aqua, who had friends, sometimes, unfortunately, you have to do it alone. For at least for me, it was like that. I went down into the abyss. I couldn't get out, with an anchor on my leg. No one to cut it for me, so I had to attempt the best I could to cut that anchor off. And I was finally able to, and swim back up to the surface. But because of that, because that there was no one's there for me, I got myself back, but not exactly myself. A little bit different than I was before. But unfortunately, the unfortunate part for me is I don't have a feeling of faith that next time, if there was a moment where I'm back a little bit into the abyss, I personally do not feel that there will be anyone to save me, that there's no remorse, and the reason I feel that way is because how people were to me before, because all of them were like that. There was no one, so it makes me feel there will be no one again next time. If there was someone, at least one person that actually really did something came up to me, gave me a hug, told me it was okay, and take me to a facility or something, then I would believe that there is hope in that sense. But for myself personally, I don't exactly know. And I don't feel like there will be exactly anyone with remorse, except for a few people that I know that have actually shown it. Which would, But it does get better. It really does get better. Sometimes you have to do it on your own. And sometimes people don't get to cutting that anchor in time. Like, unfortunately, like Etika. Some people, unfortunately, don't get to cut it in time. And some people get help, like Aqua, and get back to the surface, to the realm of light. Another thing is that, the other thing I used to also describe how it is was with, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so if you've seen The Last Jedi, I know it's very hated on, but I like Luke more in that movie, and some people are like, why? Because I saw myself, what I went through in Luke. I'm a spiritual, I would say I'm a spiritual person, I say I have a faith, I don't say I have a religion. In my faith, I thought I couldn't get to the bottom. I thought I couldn't do any wrong, that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be right with my faith. Just as Luke Skywalker was with his religion. He thought he was going to be okay. He could never, ever do the bad stuff. No. And what happened? He had a moment. He fell. And as Luke felt, as I felt, pushed people away and felt for the best, that he just isolate himself from the world. That he will isolate for himself from the world, and that just it'd be better off that way, and that it just ends. He felt like he couldn't get back. He felt like there was no redemption. And then over time, someone came along, helped him out, and helped him realize there is redemption. And he came back, understanding he couldn't do what he exactly would do, and that's something that was out in the world wasn't going to exactly be. But that there is redemption, and that you can get better and get back on your feet. And Luke Skywalker came back better. Not exactly the same, because again, it changes you. But better, and fought the First Order to his last well-being. That's my other description for Luke Skywalker. I like Luke Skywalker in that movie most of all because it teaches that, you, besides your faith, you can fall, but there's still hope, there's still redemption, even if you don't see it. And sometimes it takes time to see that, and you can get back on your feet. It may not exactly be the same, but there's still redemption, and you can move forward. Another thing is, for me, it was that got me to keep going was to live for myself, at least. To live for myself. Sorry, I have to burp. Excuse me. But you have to live for yourself. So I live for myself. And I live for those the ones I do know now, that do love me, care about me, would miss me, and would hurt a lot if I was gone. I live for them. I live for myself. And again, I'm a faithful and spiritual person, and I live for God. So, Etika, you were not a coward. You were far, far, far from being a coward. You were hurt. You were lost in the realm of darkness, and I don't know if I know there were people that were trying to help him, but unfortunately those people just weren't able, I guess, I don't know the whole story, just were unable to get to him in time, and he was unable to chop off that anchor on his leg in time for him to be able to go back to the surface, to the realm of light, to be better. And may he rest in peace. But he was far from a coward. And for anyone to ever say that he or anyone's a coward for committing suicide, parents just fully do not understand the concept of what a person goes through with suicide. Because it's not cowardness. It's hurt. It's pain. It's suffering. It's anger. It's solitude. It's loneliness. It's a lot of negative things, but cowardness is not one of them. You just want the pain to end. And in that moment, I know some people are like, well, why didn't you think of this? When you're in that moment, you really do not think about anyone else. You don't think about who you're going to hurt, who's going to exactly miss you, because you're with the depression going on, it's doing the opposite. It's counteracting the good thoughts with a huge amount of negative thoughts, saying, oh, no one would remember you. No one cares. You're better off this. No. It deflects. That's how I describe it. It deflects. Each time I tried to have something positive in here when I was depressed, a huge amount of thoughts just came deflecting it, negative. And when people tried to be positive towards me, the depression deflected it. It was negative. Nope, not having this negative. And instead of sticking around, which people should do, and not give up on the person, people gave up on me and called me negative. Called me, oh, I choose to be that way. No one chooses depression. No one chooses that. It's suffering. It's a mental illness. No one chooses that. No one wakes up in the morning and goes, I'm going to be depressed today. No one chooses that. I lost track on exactly what was I thinking. It's a lot of things. Sorry, I totally forgot what I was just explaining, but I know it's about depression. It's a lot of things. You're depressed. You don't think about certain things. Your mind just deflects. Oh, I remember now. Just people were because of that. People are like, you're negative. You choose to be that way. You're playing victim. You're seeking attention. Basically, also saying, and not exactly saying, but implying that I'm a bad person because I'm just a faker and I'm just trying to seek out attention. Now, I was legit a cry to help. I used to go to a street corner by myself and cry. I would cry on a street corner by myself. No one to comfort me. And now, going through therapy, I realized what I really wanted throughout that entire time was at least for one person to be a ray of hope of light and come up to me, give me a hug, and tell me it's going to be okay. That's all I ever wanted. I realized that after going through some self-therapy. That's what I ever wanted. Was for at least one person to come up to me, give me a hug, and say it's going to be okay. Show compassion, love, caring, concern, that there is hope and there are good people out there. A lot of people again made a lot of rumors about me that really hurt my reputation, and where I used to live, so it's like I can't really go back there anymore because I'm now known as a bad person. I'm only known as a bad person for having feelings and for having depression and for being suicidal. Then I'm known as a bad person, and no one there cares what my side of the story is. I'm officially labeled as a bad person. I would try to describe to talk about it, and I get torn down about it. I'm like, no, you're a bad person. You can tell me as much. You're a bad person. You're a bad person. And it's not true. I try to be the most friendliest, nicest person I can be. I love. I do not hate. I make sure I never hate a person. Never ever hate a person. I love, I forgive, I care and compassion, and try to do what I feel others don't or that I never got in return. And sometimes, there may be misunderstandings, and then once everything's cooled down, we can talk about it and be more mature about it. But, I was labeled a lot of things. And I don't know if he was labeled a lot of things too, and a lot of that just adds up. It just builds up and builds up and builds up. Found out. I even found out recently. I don't even live there anymore. I haven't lived there for years, and I found out people are still talking about me. I don't even live there, and there's even people I don't even know talking crap about me. It's like, you guys really are low and have nothing better to do then if you're doing that. But I wanted to share this video and let you guys know, just speak about this, because it really upset me that someone called Etika that. He was not a coward. It was many things, but coward is not it. There is hope, and please, I beg you, please, don't be like the people don't be like the people who acted the way they did towards me. Be there for someone. Give them a hug. Tell them you love them. You care about them. Comfort them. Tell them it's going to be okay. Tell them it's going to be fine. Help them. I beg you. Help them. Be human. Care. Love. Forgive. I beg you. Do what those people didn't do for me. Because I may have been able to get out of it on my own, which is, I don't know if it's considered lucky or a blessing or something, but possibly from what I've seen, the majority, if a person does it alone, they may not come back from it. So I beg you, please, do what other people didn't do for me. Be there. Physically be there. Don't just go on words alone. I think that's another thing. People say, oh, I helped the person. All you did is talk. You have to do more than just talk. You have to act. Besides talk, you have to act. An action has a reaction, whatever the scene is. You have to act. You can't just say alone. You have to act upon it. So please, don't just say. Do it physically too. Go to the person. Save them. Help them. Please, I beg you. I beg you. I would love it if people could show me again that there is hope in humanity, that there are legit people out there that are good, who do care, love, forgive, and are there for people, who do sincerely want to help. Please. Please. And that there is hope, there is light within the darkness, and there is redemption, there is a second chance, that there is a better. It just, you have to try to get there, and I suggest that people help that person get there, and that they don't have to go through it alone, please. But it does get better, and I was just in total shock with finding out that Etika was unfortunately found dead. It is very sad. It's very upsetting, and I've seen the community has been in mourning, so to speak, throughout this whole day. May he rest in peace, and Etika, wherever you are not a coward. You are far from a coward. You just didn't exactly know what to do, possibly, and unfortunately, certain things didn't fall in place for you in a good way. But may Etika rest in peace.